So like everything we've ever recorded.
Why don't you shush? And I'm Steve Vessel, and welcome to the Gore Club podcast.
I'm Ace. Merry Christmas.
I celebrate Yule, bastage. All the holidays.
Happy holidays.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
All of them.
What's the other ones then?
I don't know. I only know the Simpsons joke where he's like, he says all the holidays, and then Krusty goes, and a very solemn Ramadan.
Man, so it's been a whole year since our last Halloween, our last seasonal fucking Christmas episode.
It's off to a great start.
Yeah, whatever, Katie. You're trying to get my feathers ruffled.
Christmas.
Anyway, God damn it. So I mean, so the season of giving. What'd you give? Do you actually? You celebrate Christmas, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a monster. I mean,
whoa. So all of the rest of you bastards who don't celebrate the Christmas,
no,
you suck.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, like most people, me and my wife do the whole Christmas thing, but it's like the most non-religious Christmas ever. So it's like it's just it's all the Yule, basically, just trees and stuff. All that Yule stuff.
All that Yule stuff, all that shit you guys ripped off. See, I celebrate Yule, and I've already got my Yule gift. I gave Katie hers, and it actually pertains to our pick tonight. But we're going to go with Ace first.
Go with mine.
So we're only going to do like a movie apiece, just to make this short, fun.
Yeah, I think in past years we've covered like way too many at once.
Oh my God! One year we did all the Silent Identity night.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
was a 4-hour episode that nobody ever watched.
Go back and watch it now,
or listen to. Yeah,
this is actually after this is over. That episode actually starts, so you're gonna have to watch it.
Automatic.
No, I wanted to pick something that I probably have never talked about on here. So
'cause it's fucked.
Yeah, it's I bought this movie randomly, and it's Die Hard. Did you know that's a Christmas movie? No.
Edward Scissorhands.
No. I was here in town and found this, and it was a Blue Underground DVD of a movie which I know as The Night Train Murders. And
very holiday.
It was a video nasty. It tells you that right on the front of it. And I was like, well, I think it was like $5. And I was like, yeah, I'll get this. And it sat on my shelf for like 2 years before I ever watched it.
Well, here's the thing about when I see a movie that I know is on my video nasty list, because I think we both have that list. I'm like, I got to be in the mood to watch these movies. And then when you watch them, you're just like, oh, it's not so bad. This one is.
Oh, yeah. It was like, and the cover was like banned in some, like, so many countries.
Sure it was.
Yeah. But, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll give this a watch. So, 2 years later, just by chance, I watched it in December, and I put it in. I was like, oh, this takes place on Christmas. They didn't even mention that in the description on the back. So I was like, wow, this is nice. And so this is called the Night Train Murders, which, because it's an Italian film, it has 25 different titles. I think when you look it up, it's called Last Stop on the Night Train. The original title is like L'ultimo treno della notte.
Beautiful.
Some really bad Italian. Margherita. It's also called Late Night Trains. It's called New House on the Left, which will make sense when I describe some of the plot of this. Torture Train, Xmas Massacre.
Yeah. Oh,
Second House on the Left.
Oh my God.
And Don't Ride on Trains. Those are some of the good ones.
I like the last one.
Yeah.
I've ridden on a train and fuck.
Don't Ride on Trains.
Yeah. It's like Greyhound, but more expensive.
So does this movie take place on a train?
It does. There's a train plays a very important part of this movie, which I've also found about myself lately, that I do love a good train movie.
Oh, God damn, I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like such a good setting to film something. You're just trapped on here.
I'm exuberant.
Yeah. I mean, same thing. I love Terror Train. Like, I don't know. Any movie. I watched something with Gene Hackman in it the other day that takes place on a train, and I was like, God, this is good. And I think it's just the train. I just like the train part.
I love trains, and I love like elements. So you put those two together, Christmas train horror movie.
Yeah. And actually, the title I came up with this movie is The Last Virgin Christmas Train on the Left.
That's your Ace Carriers.
This movie is basically Last House on the Left on a train. That is the entire plot of the movie. So if you've ever seen Last House on the Left, and it's also based, because Last House on the Left was also based on Ingmar Bergman's The Virgin Spring.
Obviously.
you have to include that on there too. So, but yeah, if you like Last House on the Left and you know what that's about, yeah, you're gonna. So that's just
be
fair
prepared.
warning about some assaults that happen in this movie. But
Oh my God.
but the basic plot of it, these high school friends take the late night train from Germany to Verona to spend Christmas with one of their with Lisa's family.
Who's Lisa?
Yeah, so it's Margaret and Lisa
She's one of the main girls.
are the two main people in this
Okay.
movie. But anyway, they get on there's two guys, and then while they're boarding, these other two guys get on, and they're kind of flirting with them a little bit. There's a couple, as they describe in this thing here, randy delinquents, which is to put it very mildly.
Not Randy the delinquent.
extremely-
Randy delinquents.
Yeah, and
If you're young, look up the word Randy. But
a couple of randy delinquents.
Yeah.
Randy. They meet her, and then another well-dressed woman get into a train cab together, and it does not go well.
yeah, and that's just her title, like woman on train.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she's credited as.
Oh,
but
yeah.
she's a well-known actress. Like you said, she was in Deep Red. Like,
Yeah, she's the psychic in Deep Red.
Yeah, Matcha Merrill. She plays Helga in Deep Red.
Yeah.
But yes, and like she has some like photographs of like naked women, like pornographic photos or something that she's
Randy.
Yeah, she's very Randy, as like Austin Powers would put it. But yeah, so while they're on here, a lot of stuff goes down on the train. Not going to spoil it, but
Please don't.
if you've ever seen Last House on the Left, you probably know how the movie's going to end. Because if you love revenge, then this is a good movie for you.
yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk about. I mean, this is a spoiler. We spoil everything.
Yeah,
I mean, just dig into this. So when we tried to watch it the other night, I say tried because I just was not in the mood for
Yeah, you gotta be in the mood
an
for it.
assault. Let's just say an assaultive experience.
very. Yeah,
That's all I got.
it's very triggering.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but there is something about like the scene where they're in the little train car and it's just like very claustrophobic. Like you're already like on edge. Yeah, it's like you're already on edge as it is because you're like in this tiny little room with these four people, and then like all of a sudden because it's nighttime, like everything's blue. So they're like in this little thing, like the lighting is just all blue.
I never tell you my
like,
favorite color is blue.
Just being like, and blue's already like, it already makes you think of like a blue movie, as they used to say, like back in the comedians that go probably like, don't mean to be blue, like that.
We've discussed that before on the
Blue
podcast.
Underground, all
Yeah.
that. But
Porn.
yeah,
God, just say it, dude.
pornography. But so one of the girls ends up jumping out of the train. Or I think, both of them. They do like one of them gets killed, one of them jumps out of the train and dies, which is kind of humorous because whenever you see it, it's very obviously like a stunt double because it's like all of a sudden like
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty obvious on that.
All of a sudden, a middle-aged woman is jumping out of the train.
It's like I thought this was
It's like Evil Dead. It was like the obvious wig where Ted Raimi's using
oh yeah.
to be Cheryl. I'm Cheryl.
Then then the end of it is basically Last House on the Land. They go to the house. Oh, they end up at her dad's house by perchance because her dad is a doctor.
Yeah, you did
And
say
one of the
Last
guys,
House on the Left.
Yeah, one of the guys is injured, and he's like, "Well, you must come to my house. I'll help you." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then things start coming together, and he sees a belt or something. He's wearing like one of her articles of clothing or something, and then he's like, "Oh, these are the guys," and then like just revenge ensues, But some people may not consider this a Christmas. I mean, Christmas isn't integral to the plot of the movie.
Some people may not surf it.
But some people may not think it's a Christmas movie.
This isn't Gremlins.
But when it starts out, they're in Germany and it's all decorated for Christmas. It's vital to the plot because that's why they're going home.
Yeah.
And they get home, the house is like everything. It kind of puts you in the you're like, oh, Christmas, this won't be bad. If you just went into this movie blind, you're like, what a nice house. Oh, they're on a train, and you're like, oh, don't get in the train car with those two.
Don't.
I mean, they just
Don't go on the train.
If you were thinking of getting on this train, don't. But I found there's one quote that I found that somebody from DVD Verdict, a random website, but this critic had this quote about it, and it said, if Wes Craven's train leaves Connecticut traveling east at 25 miles per hour and Alan Latto's train leaves a station in Verona traveling west at 35 miles per hour, then can a cheap imitation of a film actually be better than the film it's ripping off? I was like, oh, that's really good. Like, I wish I would have thought of that. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I enjoy it I did not finish it.
Well, this is your genre. You love this fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Katie, our producer, is demented.
Well, I like some stuff.
Yeah.
And any kind of like exploitation, rape, revenge, like it's one of my favorite subgenres, if not my favorite subgenre. So I was super like excited for this movie. But sometimes your partner's not really in the mood for it.
I wasn't feeling the whole, like, you can't really say the R word on YouTube, but
I did.
The assault.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Assault in my senses.
Then the first time I watched this, I was like, oh, God, I'll probably never watch this again. But then, like, I think after a week, I got home from the Krampus event the other night. I was like, I was probably already had a few beers, and I was like, I'm going to watch this, man. I'm going to like put it in. Maybe
I'm in the mood for violence.
Maybe it's because I was drunk when I watched it. I thought this would be a good movie to discuss about Christmas. But
yeah, you just watched a death metal band destroy the city in a Krampus event, and you were like, I need to go home and watch some violence.
Yeah, I want to watch a video nasty.
I mean, it was good, and it was well made from what I saw.
That's the thing is, it's really
Oh
well
yeah,
made,
it's not cheap. It doesn't look cheap.
Who's the filmmaker?
The actors are good. Alan Latto is the guy's name. But yeah, it also has like a recognizable cast. The one guy, Flavio Bucci, he played Daniel in the movie Suspiria. And like the other one we mentioned from Deep Red, and then another Irene Miracle was Dana and Puppet Master, and she was also in Inferno.
Oh my God, the superior Argento film.
Yeah, Inferno's good. That's another one I need to watch.
God, it's so good. Mario Bava directed the ending of that movie.
Yeah, it's so like in the they're in the apartment. I haven't watched Inferno in a while. Every time I always watch it, I'm always like, God, this is good.
Yeah, it's so well. Anyways, back to Night Train Terrors. Don't go on the train and all. Whatever the hell.
Della Notte Treno. But yeah. It's like, yeah.
Just that's the flippant way you say it. Treno. Don't drink the Treno.
Yeah, that's it's Italian accent via Kentucky. So,
oh my God.
But yeah, it's very well made. It doesn't look cheap. Like the setting, it's filmed in like it takes place in like Germany and Italy, and like just their surroundings like make for a good backdrop of any movie.
Yeah.
The acting's good for the movie,
What the fuck is happening?
I don't know. But I would recommend watching it, but definitely you have to be in a certain kind of mood to like get into it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think I would ever watch it again, but then I did, and I was kind of like, you know what? This is kind of like it's it's well made enough to where I want to watch it again. Let me fast forward through like one little scene here because it's kind of off putting, but
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like a check your triggers kind of movie where it's like maybe don't go into this one blind.
Yeah, it's not one where I'm like, hey, everybody's over at the house. I'm gonna play Last Stop on the Night Train for everyone.
Yeah, goddamn.
Oh no!
Gather round, kids! It's Christmas Eve.
Yeah. I'm gonna follow it up with Cannibal Holocaust after that.
God. Fantastic. Well, I tortured myself this month, and I went through as many holiday classics that I could go through just to find at least one movie to talk about that I haven't talked about before or even heard of. And I watched some trash. I don't mind good. I like good garbage. God, don't we? Don't we just love garbage?
Oh, I love garbage.
But I watched some bad ones. I mean, Chill Factor. Have you seen Chill Factor? Don't.
Oh, I did. I own Chill Factor.
I bet you fucking do, baby.
I watched it like 2 weeks ago.
Great movie poster. It's a ski resort movie with a slasher, and like it takes forever and nothing happens, and there's a lot of sex scenes with no boobage. It's like, what am I watching this for?
Yeah, but that box, I got the Vinegar Syndrome box.
It looks amazing.
It's got like a big icicle through the
through the ski mask. Like a,
it's awesome.
Not a ski mask, like the helmet that
For
you
the
would
helmet,
wear,
yeah.
that you would wear on not a jet ski, but a
Snowmobile.
snowmobile.
I feel like somebody just owned a bunch of snowmobiles and they were like, we should make a movie out of this.
Oh yeah, some rich friend had a freaking. Anyways, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
Sister Krampus.
No, it doesn't. It rules.
Even more. Oh my god, Sister Krampus is just as bad as like Mother Krampus and Mother Krampus 2.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
obviously, we just talked about Krampus because I throw the largest Krampus celebration in the tri-state area of where we live. And this is our 8th year. But Sister Krampus is awful.
I would never watch that based on the title alone.
But it's not even like the sister of Krampus. It's like a nunnery.
A nunnery.
A nun.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
I'm more intrigued.
Oh,
You shouldn't
maybe
be.
I did watch that. I think I did watch that at one of the gore clubs like years ago.
No, I would never show it.
Really? There was one, I swear.
That's Mother Krampus.
Mother Krampus.
Mother
Yeah,
Krampus is
yeah.
awful.
God, that sucked.
Yeah, but I like that kind of crap. And then, of course, I went through Santa Stein. Don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Werewolf Santa, actually fun. It's like a found footage movie, kind of very, I don't know, like tough kick-ass monster hunter chick is like on the hunt for werewolf Santa. Actually, she's on the hunt for Santa, and then she watches Santa get attacked by a werewolf. Fill in the blanks. Okay, Killer Raccoon 2. Wait. I had the title right here. Killer Raccoon 2. Dark Christmas in the Dark. That's the fucking title.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. So then I fell upon this movie that I was going to do a full review on, and it's called
Christmas Cruelty.
Christmas Cruelty. And I was like, oh, Hiligo Jewel. I tried to pronounce it the correct way. And that movie, it's very much like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer meets freaking Last House on the Left, but if it's Rob Zombie made a movie with Quentin Tarantino with McNaughton, who did Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, sounds really cool. And I watched that right after I watched Ace's fantastic pick.
It's on YouTube if you want to watch it.
Oh my god, a lot of this stuff is on Tubi. But anyways,
surprised.
I am not talking about that movie right now.
No, I don't think you can talk about Christmas Cruelty on YouTube, like, at all.
So it took me an entire month to go all the way back around to the classics. And no, I'm not talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Not again.
Nope. I'm gonna break out my Big League Chew because I'm going classic.
Big League Chew.
Oh, God. It's everywhere.
I'm going to talk about Black Christmas.
You're going to hate yourself editing this. You hate watching people eat.
Do you like Big League Chew ASMR?
Long term?
I'm good.
Big League Chew.
It looks like straw.
I couldn't eat Big League Chew as a kid because I had braces.
Aw.
We're supposed to pack enough in there to make it look like you got like a baseball thing. I don't know.
Yeah, remember it's like, you know what kids like? Chewing tobacco. And we're going to make it like bubble gum. So it's
Ease them into it.
Yeah, it's like candy cigarettes, which my dad had actual chewing tobacco. So when I was a kid, I probably just had that instead of Big League Chew. I had a big Levi Garrett in my mouth.
Yeah.
I was way too cool for that.
Batter up, punish. Okay.
Okay.
Stick that on
It was like I
table
just
there.
pulled a tongue out of my,
my
mouth
God.
on top of my other tongue.
Oh, that visual was bad.
So we're going back to Black Christmas. God damn it!
Yay!
I'm wearing my Billy sweater
that water.
/ Peter
I'm wearing my Jess sweater that Steve
that's
got
right.
me for Yule.
for Yule.
Sorry that you can't see me, but
I'm not. I'm wearing my Sinistrum shirt, which is a very good band.
and Ace fucking ruined
I
it.
don't have anything Christmas related in clothing at my house.
It just made sense. Look, Black Christmas is one of my favorite holiday horror films. It's one of my favorite slasher movies, and it's one of my favorite holiday movies. So why not just talk about it? And here we are.
I agree. When people ask me what my favorite horror film is, it's hard to narrow. I think we all get this question, and it's kind of impossible. But typically, Black Christmas is what I say is my favorite horror film. It's definitely top 3.
It's somewhat some might call the first slasher movie.
It's close.
You've probably
yeah.
heard a million times.
It's definitely the first holiday slasher movies of the contemporary type at the time. I mean, you have Peepy Tom, you have all that kind of shit, but whatever. God damn it, Black Christmas holiday.
And just from the titles alone, from the beginning of that, it's like got the Black Christmas comes on the screen and kind of hear like bells, and it's like snowing. don't know. Yeah, it's just it puts you like really in the mood for like Christmas. Like I'm like, yeah.
And it's notoriously been ripped off so many times that people are, when they finally see it, they're like, oh, I've seen this movie. It's like, I know you have, but not you haven't seen this movie. Bob Clark has talked many times about like how John Carpenter was inspired by him, and he had conversations with John Carpenter before John Carpenter made Halloween. I mean, the beginning of this movie is Halloween. It's a POV of the slasher crawling up the trellis.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in Halloween. He crawls through the kitchen.
Totally different.
Totally different.
Totally
okay,
not.
whatever. There are so many similarities, and this is another movie that has many different titles. Katie?
It started out as, I think the screenplay was titled Stop Me, which was from the killer's point of view. He wanted to be stopped.
He says it in the movie.
Yeah, he
He's
does.
like the mask. He's like, somebody stop me.
So Billy,
He gets
yeah, go ahead.
he gets upset every time he murders. It is like he gets viscerally upset. You see him kind of freak out every time and start just trashing his belongings. It's like, God damn it, Billy.
That's another thing we should talk about. What's the other titles that this movie is made up? Has
There
been
is
titled.
Silent Night, Evil Night, The Stranger in the House. I think that was it. I think that was it. And then they settled on Black Christmas because Bob Clark thought it was a funny play on White Christmas.
Yeah, I like Bob Clark, and I miss Bob Clark, and he made so many genres, subgenres with this movie is one of them. He created Porky's, he did The Family.
A lot of range on that guy.
He didn't give a fuck. I mean, he did one of the most significant zombie movies after Night of the Living Dead, which is Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, where one of the main actors is openly gay. Kick ass.
Yeah.
I mean, he made one of the most classic Christmas films of all time that still is played on TBS for 24 hours on Christmas Day.
A Christmas Story. Yeah.
It's crazy that the career that dude had to have like 3 like genre defining movies like Porky's, for whatever you want to call it. That movie was huge, and like
I believe you call them boner comedies.
boner comedies. There's a string of Porky's ripoff movies. Just like there's probably just as many Porky's ripoffs as there are Black Christmas ripoffs. And then to do the
A Christmas Story.
Christmas Story, like, and then that's still probably just basically reinvented Christmas movies when that came out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild that guy has such range to do 3 totally different movies like that.
Yeah. He also directed my favorite Sherlock Holmes movie, which is Sherlock Holmes with Christopher Plummer and James Mason against Jack the Ripper. Murder by Decree.
Murder by Decree.
It's good.
It's fantastic, and he made it in between both Black Christmas and
A Christmas Story.
This was set to make its TV premiere right after the Ted Bundy murders in Florida.
In 1978.
Yeah. Imagine that.
It
timing.
did not get played on TV because of that. I think it was supposed to play in like March, and the murders happened just a little bit before that. And so they were like, well, this seems like poor timing.
The film helped create some of these subgenres, and I will list them as I read them. The Sorority Sisters, He's in the House, the Telephone Crank Caller Killer, the Holiday Slasher, a Holiday Horror Christmas Horror, and the Giallo Whodunit. He didn't create all this, but damn it, they're all in this movie.
But it sets the groundwork. Black Christmas sets the groundwork for a lot of films in those subgenres that followed.
Yeah, the POV killer.
I mean, When a Stranger Calls was a couple years later, and that's typically what people think of when they're like, oh, the calls are coming from inside of the house. But
Yeah.
Black Christmas did it first.
Yeah, and that's what it was always wild to me because, like we've mentioned many times on this before, was that that Halloween best horror movies that used to come on on A&E or whatever.
On Bravo.
Bravo, that's what,
Yeah.
Bravo. But they used to always bring up that one of the killers coming from inside the house, and like for years you always thought that the other one was that first one to do that, but Black Christmas was.
Yeah.
And yeah, the first time I watched Black Christmas, I was like, oh, so they did this in 2 movies?
Right, yeah. I mean, all respect to Carol Kane and her gigantic eyes.
Yeah.
But Jess and Black Christmas did it first. So Jess is my favorite final girl of all time.
Let's break this down just really quick. Or actually, let's just sum up the plot.
Okay.
So you've got these sorority sisters who are in this, by the way, magnificent fucking house, and they're trying to pass it off as a U.S. house, but it's in Montreal, I believe.
It was filmed in Toronto.
It was filmed in Toronto, I believe.
And the sorority that it's based on is completely ambiguous, because if you were in a sorority and you're out there, please, correct. I don't think either of you were.
I'll ask my wife.
Yeah, right. Was she a DG? She was a Delta Gamma.
She was something.
Okay.
She was enough for Ace.
Put me on the spot. I can't remember.
I'll cut it all out.
I was not in a sorority. I did go to an all-girls high school, so I feel like I did my sorority time. But I had a lot of friends that were in a sorority in college. So there were a few inconsistencies in this movie where, like, the sweater that she's wearing has the crown symbol from Zeta Tau Alpha. But then the pictures that are throughout the sorority house are Pi Phi photos. And then the letters that are on the front of the house are like a made-up sorority. So, and I know they're not really supposed to, like, name a real sorority in a movie.
Yeah, I think that's a thing because you always have to make up. So that's why it's like fraternities and sororities and movies always have names that are like, that doesn't sound like a sorority that would exist.
Lambda, Lambda,
Yeah.
Lamb.
Like, I
Omega
think, yeah,
Mu.
because they have to get the permission from the actual, like, sororities and fraternities, and they don't want to be like, oh, yeah, we don't want to give you our permission to make us all look like a bunch of idiots in your movie.
Yeah. And maybe it's just because I've watched this movie 8 million times, including 6 times in the last, like, 2 weeks. So maybe, you know, it takes several rewatches to notice that stuff, but I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, so they're all in this sorority and they're being harassed by a guy on the telephone. And that's terrifying when it's a house full of women and this guy's just like, first he's like sweet and silent and then a little kind of dirty. And then he gets straight up into the naughty shit with the most insane voices ever. Billy's awesome.
Yeah, which is a thing that, like, probably people don't think of nowadays, because if somebody calls you now and you don't recognize it, you just hit like decline. Back in the day, if you're of our age, you didn't have any of that, and you would just answer the phone every single time, no matter what. And this was a thing that existed, was just you probably don't get a lot of prank calls anymore.
Yeah. Hello? It's the Mona.
The Mona.
Let's just do a quick synopsis of the movie real quick. Katie.
So it takes place in a sorority house where the sorority sisters have been getting threatening prank phone calls that started off as just kind of moaning. Yeah, the moaner.
It's the Mona. Elizabeth Hussey.
But then
She's English.
they get much more threatening and vulgar. And then a sorority sister goes missing. And from there, chaos ensues.
Yeah. There's some great kills. And this is also like a whodunit. You don't know who the killer is, and you think you know who the killer is.
Sometimes when I watch this movie, I completely forget who the killer is. Like, almost every time I watch this movie, I'm like, who's the killer in this?
I play games with this movie because it's like the red herring is Peter, which is Elizabeth Hussey, which is Jess's boyfriend, Peter. He's insane. He already has mental issues, and then now they're going to have a baby. It's kind of way ahead of its time when it comes to abortion and women's rights.
Yeah, it came out just a year after Roe v. Wade. Which Bob Clark has said that this wasn't meant to be political, but I'm like, you've got a young woman.
All right, George Romero.
Right?
I didn't know casting a black guy would be a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, he knew that.
Hell yeah, he did.
That's a very big deal.
Yeah, you've got a young woman who's making the decision on her own, and when her boyfriend disagrees, she's like, well, fuck you, I'm still doing it.
Yeah, his plan is, let's just get married and fuck our dreams. But you can still have your dreams because they shouldn't change.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take care of the baby.
He's got it all figured out.
Yeah. It's got a great cast. Margot Kidder before she was in like Superman and Amityville Horror.
Got Keira Dalia. Is it Dalia?
Dulia. I don't know. The guy from friggin' 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, that guy. He plays Peter.
The guy who plays Chris was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I mean, like it's a Canadian cast. All these people are from different Canadian films.
John Saxon.
John Saxon was cast like 2 days before they started filming, and he's awesome. He brings so much weight to the role of Detective Lieutenant Fuller. And you have the laughing detective, and he's hilarious. He's one of my favorite characters, and he just laughs the whole fucking time because there's so much, like, there's a lot of comedy and levity to this movie, but then it gets scary. What makes it scary, Katie?
It is actually really scary. I think what makes it so scary is what a lot of people don't like about this movie, which is the ambiguity of it. Like, it ends, I mean, again, just to spoil this 60-year-old, 50-year-old movie.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. That it ends where Jess kills Peter because she thinks that Peter was the killer the entire time. And Peter and Billy are wearing the same sweater the entire time. So it's hard to figure out who is who. But then we see Jess alone in her bed after she's been given medication to calm down because she just committed murder. And then we hear Billy's voice again.
I just swallowed that entire thing of gum.
That's going to be interesting.
Go ahead.
And so we know that Billy was the actual killer and is still alive. And so Jess is he about to murder Jess? Is Jess gonna somehow fight back through this anesthesia that she's just been giving? Probably not.
Yeah. So they knock her out because she's been through trauma. All the police force goes outside. He goes about their business. They deal with the press. Billy, you can hear him saying, "Agnes, did you tell him what we did?" So he says the word Agnes all the time, and he'll do that to the person he's going to kill.
Yeah, so it seems like he is murdering Agnes every time he murders one of the girls.
Agnes is in his head. Whatever happened in his past to make him fucked up. We don't know if this is his old house. That's how I like to think about it. He's climbing up to the attic. He climbs from the outside at the beginning of the movie, and that's where he stays. And nobody ever goes up there except for one person. And they kind of regret it. But like, is all this shit his? Like she said earlier, is like after he does a murder, he goes upstairs and just destroys his attic.
And again, that's where there's so much that is unclear in this film. Like, who is Billy? Why is Billy killing? What did Billy do to Agnes? Yeah, obviously Billy did something to Agnes that we learned through like the phone calls that he makes where he's playing both his mom and his dad and Billy and Agnes.
Yeah, he does all these multiple voices.
And which is terrifying.
Yeah.
The scariest part of the whole film is actually the very first phone call, I think, where he's going through all these voices and he just sounds
Margot Kidder is just
insane.
fucking with him?
Yeah, and Margot Kidder's just like joking around with him. And then right before he hangs up, he goes to a very normal, very calm voice that just says, "I'm going to kill you." And then he hangs up.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me that hasn't aged terrifically. It's terrifying.
Yeah, here, I'll mimic it. Yeah, did you tell him what we did? It's like having a wart rim out. I'm going to kill you. Clink.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Margot Kidder's just drunk. Just like,
she's
whatever.
so awesome. So here's the thing, like Katie picked up on something either on Reddit from a person who didn't like the movie, but they thought that Margot Kidder was
charming.
What?
Yes, this person.
She's such a jerk.
He did this whole review of like, he didn't really like Black Christmas. He thought it was boring, but Margot Kidder was just so charming throughout the whole movie. I was like, she's the bitchy, like drunk.
Yeah, that's another thing is it kind of sets up the tropes for slasher films to come.
Yeah, she's reading Playboy in the middle of the sorority house and talking about turtles fucking.
Yeah, so with the first girl who gets attacked and goes missing, she gets stayed up in the attic, and then her father comes to the sorority looking for her, and they kind of take him in. And then at one point, he's at the dinner table trying to feed him, and he looks over, and Margot Kidder's just got a big spread of Playboy, cutting out pictures and playing with a marker, and she's drunk as fuck.
Oh yeah, they do.
She's charming.
They do such a good job of setting up that dad as just being very like conservative and like,
oh, it's great.
Well, sir, and he's just like very straight laced, and even the house mother is like real surly. Just she's got like
drunk,
the secret alcohol.
Yeah, she hides the liquor in the toilet, liquor in the closet, liquor everywhere. That didn't sound right.
And she's like, B for booze.
Yeah, I love the whole cast. I like the setting. I like the themes. I like everything that has to say. I love all of the actors. It's shot well. I mean, it's almost like you use the same film stock from this movie up to like the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it pioneered sorority horror, which I adore. I love it so much. But after Black Christmas, you had House on Sorority Row, the 2009 remake just called Sorority Row, Sorority House Massacre, The Initiation, Hell Night, Happy Death Day is a modern sorority horror. Like so many. And Black Christmas was, again, the first.
Yeah. Let's talk about that shitty fucking remake.
I don't want to.
Black Xmas.
It's not bad, but then you insert this awful backstory that I don't give a crap about. I mean, it's like one of those things I feel like somebody could re-edit this film and make it good. Anyways, the remake is fine. I think it's fine, but
it'd be like an hour long if I remade it.
That's fine with me. But anyways, Black Christmas 1974 is my movie, and thank you for chiming in, Katie, with your views.
I'm very passionate about this movie.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go eat cookies
for Santa.
I was thinking about sex.
Oh.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
No. I'm stinking in the Wayne. I'm just stinking in the Wayne. Gore Club. Podcast. This is the Gore Club Podcast with Steve Vessel, Ace, and Deathmetal Dave.